Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my interview today. I am very excited to have someone with you named Cathy Studer. She is an award-winning author, speaker, and a survivor of long-term sexual childhood abuse. And she has quite the story, and I'm very excited to share her with you because she's going to help us to change the world because we can do something about it. We can do something about it. She's going to tell us how. And so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Danielle Burnock from danielleburnock.com. Love yourself from Survive to Thrive, that lady on the internet who loves you. And so without any further ado, I will bring Cathy out here so that you can meet her. Welcome, Cathy. Thank you for being on my live with me today and being on my podcast with me and sharing with people your story and how they can have a part in changing the world and stopping or lessening childhood sexual abuse. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate the time and the space. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's so important. It's such a big problem in the world. And your sexual abuse started when you were just 6 years old. Do you remember life before that? That's pretty young. What was life before that, and how did that all come to take place?
That's a great question. I would say what I do remember, life before that was innocence, complete innocence, and thinking the world is good from my advantage point. And it started at, like you said, age 6. My mom worked nights, and she would leave for work usually around 10:30. And she had been married to my stepfather for about a year at that point. And one night when my nighttime nightmare started, my stepfather came into my bedroom. And I just remember waking up with the light from the hallway shining in my eyes, and my stepfather telling me that I needed to come downstairs and he had to talk to me. And when I went downstairs, he took me into their bedroom and told me I was in trouble.
Oh, wow.
And that night, the abuse started. And
wow, started with a threat before you had done anything. Intimidation before wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was as simple as, you didn't empty the dishwasher. And so he told me I was going to have to be punished. And so that night, my innocence was lost. That night, my world changed, and little did I know. And what I do remember, even as a little girl, I remember getting on the bus the next day, driving to school, and asking myself, does this happen to other little girls? Are other little girls this bad? And why was I so bad that this had to happen to me? And I couldn't articulate what had happened to me. And I couldn't break it down. I couldn't understand it. And when I got to school, I vaguely remember getting off the bus, putting a smile on my face, pushing my bangs out of my eyes, and saying, you know what? I don't want people to know I'm this bad. I don't want people to know what happened to me.
Wow.
Little did I know that nighttime nightmare would progress for 6 years until I was 12 years old.
Wow. Wow. And you never told anyone. Why didn't you ever tell anyone? Why didn't you tell your mom? I mean, it's common that kids don't tell. So I think it's important to talk about why, because people are like, well, why didn't they tell?
It's incredibly important. And I know so many adults especially question that. And the biggest answer I would give is the shame and the humiliation is so immense. It's massive. And the longer the trauma or the infraction or the abuse lasts, the bigger the shame gets. And as children, we take on that belief that this must be happening to me because it's my fault. this must be happening to me because I'm so bad. And if I tell, is it going to be more shame? Is it going to be more humiliation? And it's so hard to say it out loud. I remember one time, and I was 11 and a half, not quite 12. And my mom was taking me to the beauty salon to get my hair cut. And it was a great day. And I was so excited to have that time alone with my mom. And I kept playing over in my head that, okay, what if I tell her? What if I tell her? Maybe today's the day I'm going to tell her. And I got so close in the car going home. And I was so afraid. I was so afraid to say it out loud. I was so afraid that my mom wouldn't believe me. And so my stepfather, the whole time he abused me, he told me that my mom wanted him to do this to me.
More lies. Wow.
So I had that belief in my head. And so part of my fear was, what if that's true? What if my mom does want him? How can I handle that? The person that I love the most.
Yeah.
And I was afraid to know the answer. And so that shame and that humiliation and believing it's your fault holds everything inside, because we are so desperately afraid to say it out loud.
Right. Yeah. It's true with childhood trauma, emotional trauma, that they are filled with shame, and children blame themselves for all the different kinds of trauma, physical abuse, emotional trauma, all those different things. And it's never the child's fault. But in your case, I mean, on top of, that's a child's response, is to blame themselves. Like Gabor Mate says that we can't turn our caregivers into villains, so we turn ourselves into the villain. I mean, that's just the natural response that trauma causes. But then before it even started, you were told it was your fault. So that puts another layer on that is just, and then your mom, oh, wow, that's just layer upon layer. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. And again, it's all those reasons why
Yeah.
we don't speak up. We don't break the silence, and we're so afraid. And just real quick, I would add to that, the average survivor, it takes 52 years of sexual abuse to fully confront their trauma. And that number is even higher for males.
Yeah.
And the reason it's so high is because some never confront, because they just don't want to say it out loud. We're so afraid of what people will think. Even as you become an adult, there's still that part of you that says, wow, are they going to judge me? What are they going to think of me if they know this happened to me?
Yeah, statistics say that it's like 0.04% or something like that, that a sexual thing that's been reported is false, because it's like so infinitely minuscule that it's ever made up. But children are afraid that they're going to be called liars. And, they do get called liars, or they get told to just, blow it off in some way. You can't blow that off. That's just,
Yeah.
that's mind blowing to think that you want a child to blow that off when they're being so violated. It's just,
Yeah.
it's astounding. And I've read a statistic about 60% of people who were sexually molested never speak up. I don't know how they got that statistic if they never spoke up, but that's a lot. Or maybe
It
they
is.
didn't finish the sentence and it's not until a certain time, or I don't know how they got that, but the vast majority don't ever speak up. So they don't get healed. They don't get the help that they need.
Exactly. And to go back to what you said, that is so true. The Justice Department will share with everyone that 97 to 98% of reported cases prove to be true, yet only 33% of parents believe. So now let's think about that. So you've got 97 to 98% say it proves to be true, yet only 33% of parents believe. We've got a massive disconnect. And then from that, so now let's take it from the 33%. So that 33% who believe will then go and report. Now, from that 33%, only 50% will get investigated. 50. So now you're down to 33. Now we're going to 17%, 17.5% roughly are going to get investigated. And then statistics then show us that only 1/3 of that will get prosecuted. 1/3. So we've got a long way to go, but that is the number one thing that I would, if I want to get across today, if nothing else, for everybody to hear this, believe. Children don't lie about this, and at least investigate. They deserve an investigation. Right. It is so hard, and to say it out loud as a child. So to believe, start, because any trauma creates an imprint in the neural pathway in the brain. Right. And when a parent doesn't believe, it's a second trauma. It's another re-victimization. And when we do believe, if a parent responds, it starts to loosen up the first one. It makes healing that much easier.
Right. Yeah. So how did you, what did you said your dad made you do something really weird, and that's actually what led to him getting caught. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So it was my stepfather.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. It's okay. So my stepfather, and as the abuse progressed, unfortunately, he progressed. And in the last couple years, he would make me write down on paper what he was going to do to me, as if my shame wasn't immense enough as it was. Wow. And I just remember writing that note thinking, my gosh, why? Why is he making me do this? And little did I know that he would keep those pieces of paper in his wallet for his sick pleasure. And little did I know that pain that he created within me to do that would be the catalyst to help me out of my nighttime nightmare. So it was a New Year's Eve night, and I had gone to bed. I was 12 years old. And after I'd gone to bed for a while, my mom and my stepfather had an argument that night. And when my stepfather walked out of the bedroom, my mom had a sixth sense to look inside his wallet. And when she did, she found the letters that he made me write. And my mom came up to my bedroom and she woke me up. And even though she knew it was my writing, she said, "Is this your writing?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "How long has this been going on?" And I said, 6 years. And she grabbed my face and she looked me in the eye and she said, this ends tonight. I am so sorry. And we cried for about 10 to 15 minutes, felt like a half hour.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom told me, she said, "Stay here. I don't want you to come downstairs." And my mom went downstairs. And that night, my mom kicked my stepfather outside of the house. I share in my book the words she used. They were rather graphic, but they fit.
I can imagine. Audience, pause and imagine. We don't need to say them here on the audio, but we can imagine. What would you say to this expletive?
Yes. And she did. And here is one of the most important parts, is that night, my mom was my hero. That night, my mom responded quickly, swiftly, and appropriately. And that demonstratively changed my course moving forward. And I had a lot of healing to do after that. Yet, for someone to believe and say, "I'm going to defend you because you deserve it," is demonstrative.
Yeah.
And so my ask again out to everyone, if you're listening to this, share this with anybody you know and let parents hear the
Yes.
value and the importance of protecting, believing, and defending.
Amen. So how did you survive after that? I mean, your mom pulled you out of that. How did you survive emotionally um, through that from 12 years old till you got older?
Well, she did take me to a counselor right away and a psychologist, and that was great. But I also want to be honest and say that after 2 visits, the psychologist said to my mom, "Hey, she's fine. She's doing great. She's resilient. She's okay." And I think that's because I was a child who put a smile on my face
Hmm.
on the exterior because I wanted to be liked and loved so badly because I
Yeah,
didn't feel that. And that smile on my face was a false sense of unreality of how I was truly doing. And I give him credit that yes, I was resilient, but yet there was so much broken inside of me. The shame and
right.
humiliation was immense, and he didn't even begin to tap into that. So through my teenage years, I drank more than I should have. I drank alcohol far more than I should have as a means to cope and numb my pain. I made incredibly poor choices with boyfriends, with the false sense of if I could just get a male to like me and love me, I'll be better
Right,
somehow.
because what your stepdad had said to you at the very beginning was this was how you were going to be punished. So I can only imagine how you connected your sexuality with punishment in some form.
Yeah, yeah, it was very
Yeah.
misguided, and it took a long time. I was grateful to meet my husband. He was an important piece in my healing, and and what I would say, so in my book Broken to Beautifully Whole, I talk about the 6 attributes or components that I ultimately ended up adapting into my life as habits that played a major role in pulling my pieces back together piece by piece. But what I want to say is the first one that I started with was perspective. And even when I was a little girl, not when I was 6, 7, or 8, but more like 10, 11, and 12, I would be aware that if I could take my focus and find something good, like playing a board game with my brother where I would win, it, it would be a means to reduce my pain. It didn't eliminate my pain at all, but it was a means, or focus on making Christmas cookies with my mom, which I loved. And so carrying that good perspective was the base and the foundation for taking what happened to me and allowing me to not be completely shattered. I was still broken,
Mhm.
but and then when I was pregnant with my son, and I stepped into knowing that, my gosh, I do not want what happened to me to define me. I want my son to have a better life.
Mhm.
And that means I've got to fix me. I've got to make my life better. That was me saying, damn it, no,
Yeah.
that this is not going to define me. But it takes me making a choice to rise above and help myself heal.
Yeah, so it
So,
was when you were pregnant with your son, you really took ownership of this is the direction I'm choosing to go. And then
yes,
you started adding other attributes and stuff you were telling me about and how the neuroplasticity and stuff. Share a little bit about that.
yes, 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 yes. So in my mind, to me, that is the most powerful part of my book that I share. And unfortunately, after trauma, especially sexual abuse, anxiety, depression, PTSD, low self-worth, low self-esteem, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, and the list continues,
Right.
is common and unfortunately normal And when I had a conversation with someone who propelled me to the thought of even writing my book, I started doing massive research. And I came across that research on purpose. In my mind, it was a total God incident, because that research allowed me to then re-articulate back why I had some of the successes I had in my life, because I kept asking the question, why do some people suffer trauma and go on to live a somewhat successful life? And why do others suffer more? One person is absolutely no better than another. And so what I found through my research is when we apply the attributes that I talk about into our lives as habits, keyword habit, they begin to rework the neurobiology in our brain for our betterment. That means that traumatic experience that's stuck in that neural pathway can be released. And that's huge. I just think that's so powerful, that knowing that, yeah, we can change this, but it takes a choice. It takes that awareness, and it takes shifting the mindset of knowing that we deserve it, and we're going to build components into our life as habits that are going to take us to our best potential, that are going to take us to ultimately leading to our purpose, and take us knowing that, as you eloquently say, we matter.
Yeah.
Because you matter. We all matter. And once you realize that and know that, that's a gift to yourself. It's an investment into becoming your best self.
Right. That's one of the things I start with my book, is starting to take ownership of your value, because some people can't do that, and that you have to do that to start choosing to heal. And I want to stop here and just direct my audience to healing from trauma is not just emotional. When you hear what Cathy said, healing from trauma is physically capable in the brain. It's a physical thing. It's not just emotional. It needs to be emotional too, but it is also physical. It can be healed.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. Exactly. And like you said, it's a process and it's a choice, but it's a choice worth making.
Amen. Well, you're on a mission, right? You do speaking and training, and what is it all that you're involved in with that?
Oh, thank you. So yes, I do. I've been fortunate to go speak to some CASA groups, which stand for Court Appointed Special Advocates for Children, and that has been an honor. I've created a workshop that I'm really excited about, where I dive into the attributes. I go a little bit deeper than I did in my book, and then everybody gets to create their own piece of kintsugi, because kintsugi is on the cover of my book, which is a pottery form. And for anybody that doesn't know, it is a Japanese art where they take something that's been broken and pull it back together with lacquered silver or gold, because it comes with that philosophy that when something is broken, it can be repaired to become stronger and more beautifully whole. We're meant to embrace our scars, not hide them, and we can shine the light on them. But anyhow, I'm excited about that. I also had the opportunity this year to be the event leader for a walk in Columbus, Ohio. That's where I'm from. And we had 3 lead cities, Dallas, Denver, and Columbus. And this was the first walk ever to defeat childhood abuse and neglect. One did not exist before now. And it was an honor. Oh my gosh, I was in tears at the magnitude of support in Columbus. We ended up raising $55,600. And that was fantastic, because so the goal and the mission of the walk, and my mission within my book and my speaking and my training, is there's 4 pillars of how we can change and defeat the child sexual abuse statistics. And that is research, education, prevention, and advocacy. The research, we gather the statistics. 1 out of 4 girls will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday.
That's
One
awful.
out of 6 boys will be sexually abused in some form before their 18th birthday. And there's so much more data that we have. Now let's take that data. Now let's go educate.
You said how many of girls?
So 1 out of 4 girls
And then one
will
out
be
of 6 boys.
so the average is 1 out of 5 in some form. And we really need to pause and think about that. So
Yeah.
when you hear that statistic, what I want people to do is think about your daughters, your granddaughters, your nieces, your nephews, your sons, your grandsons, their friends, their classmates, their sport mates, their teammates, everybody they're connected with. Now take that statistic and reapply it.
It's horrifying. It's
It's our
horrifying.
it's our reality.
Right.
And so, but we can change that. So let's
So
start
how exactly can we reduce it? I mean, we study it and that we know stuff, but how does that actually do anything? What can we do to actually do something about it?
So thank you for asking that. There are absolutely things we could do. Number one, step into the uncomfortable conversation. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but start talking to your children. Start at age 3. Once they know their body and their body parts, number one, define the body parts as what they truly are. Teach them that they have body boundaries and they can say no. They have the authority to say no, and that's okay. Teach them the difference between secrets and surprises.
Mhm.
Surprises are good things. We got this present for mom, or we got this present for Uncle George. It's a good thing. Secrets are not. It's okay to share a secret. It's okay to be a tattletale. In
Right.
fact, it could be incredibly beneficial to be a tattletale and keep the conversation going. Even if your child is a teenager or preteen and you haven't stepped into that conversation, step into the conversation and keep it going as the vulnerabilities continue. Even as they go into college, keep having that conversation of, if children are going to drink, the first part of your brain that's affected when you drink is the frontal lobe, which is the decision-making process. And then the more you drink, and I'm not saying people can't have a glass of wine or a beer, just teach our children what that means. So keep it age appropriate, start it young and keep it going, because the more we educate, the more we prevent. And then of course, advocacy, like I talked about, believe, investigate. Let your child know, I hear you, I love you, I believe you, and I support you, and you will defend them, because that makes such a big difference. Let them talk to you. And if they open up and they share, take that step and please let them know it was not their fault.
Amen.
It is not their fault ever. Ever is it a child's fault. They need to
Amen.
hear that, feel it, and believe it.
Yeah, I have heard other trauma survivors who've been raped as 16, 17, 18, even in their 20s, and they have trouble not blaming themselves.
Yeah.
That's it's not your fault.
It's not. It's
not
not.
your
So
fault.
the number 2 things that they need to hear, they're believed and it's not their fault.
Right.
And if they can hear that and they can know they're supported and someone's walking with them when they're ready to talk more, it is so vital to their healing and their progress and their growth.
So then what would be a sign that, like, a parent, a grandparent, or a neighbor, or anyone anywhere that cares to do something, what would be a sign that we would know that something's wrong? How could we know? We just don't want to walk up to people and say, hey, have you been molested? You're not going to do that. So
Great point. Yeah, it's hard. So there's some some definite signs that tend to lead, not 100% that something happened, but enough for you to start asking questions. When the child starts to have poor behavior, when that's not their typical behavior, or when they start to withdraw. And one of the big signs is they don't want to be around that person. They don't want to be alone with that person. They don't want to go to school anymore, or they get a stomach ache every time they think about going to school, or they don't want to go to the aunt or uncle's house. I don't want to go to their house. When someone's starting to say that and they've never said that before, that is a big red flag. Or they don't want to bathe. When they don't want to bathe anymore, that is another big, big red flag. Or even wetting the bed is another form. And so what I would say with parents, and another thing that is so important, listen to your kids play when they have imaginary play, because so many kids will play and act out what they're so afraid to say out loud. They will play it with their Barbies. They will play it with their toys, their crayons, their cars. And I'll use myself for an example. When I played with my Barbie dolls as a child, if anybody would have listened to me play, I had the same reoccurring theme over and over and over and over. I had a Barbie doll that was in trouble, that was getting abused. And then I had another Barbie doll come in and save her. And it was the same story. And that was my way of emulating hope as a child.
Wow.
A hope of being rescued, which is why a Barbie doll was always rescued. And
Wow, that's real intuitive. Listen to them play. Some things that could also be they watch movies about, a villain and a heroine too. So like you said, you can't just jump to a conclusion, but you can start asking questions, just paying attention.
Exactly.
Paying attention.
Exactly. And start with a simple question like, hey, what happened to that Barbie doll? What happened to that Barbie doll that was hurt? Can you tell me about that Barbie doll?
That's great, because then you're not talking about the kid and what happened to them. It's outside of them, making it a safer place to talk, because we can say anything about the Barbie doll or about the transformer or the car or whatever it is. That was bad. What had happened to that thing? Because it's outside of the child. Wow.
Exactly. And then roll into, okay, let's say that this Barbie doll was hurt in parts of her body.
Mm-hmm.
And then gently lean in and say, rather than coming directly out and saying, well, did that happen to you? Say, well, always know you can always tell mommy or daddy that if anything ever happens to you, know we are here. And that you've got that safe place, that we love you, we protect you. So you can tell us if you're ever uncomfortable about anything, any situation, know you can always tell mommy and daddy.
Wow. Yeah. Create that safe space. You don't jump to the conclusion, but you open the door to, if you want to do it, it's right over here. If there is something going on, or maybe you just watched a movie and you're reenacting it, but something like that. Wow.
And another thing that I would add with that is, even as your kids get older, create a safe person, another safe person outside of mom and dad that they could go to, that they feel comfortable with. And so you can ask them like, hey, if you ever can't tell mom and dad something, let's create a safe person for you to go talk to. And that safe person could be an older brother. It could be an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a pastor, a coach, but anybody else that they feel super safe that they could go to and share. And if you create that space, because let's say it is a father or a stepfather, as in my situation as a stepfather, they're afraid to tell mom. But if someone would have told me, first of all, I had body boundaries, that would have been huge. And that I could say no, that would have been huge. But then to create another person as a safe person that I could go to, that's huge. That
Yes.
gives them another outlet to go tell.
Wow. This has been amazing. Thank you so much. And you have a book. Hold up your book for those who are watching, but then describe it for those who are listening on the podcast. So,
No problem. It is called Broken to Beautifully Whole, a compelling crusade to break the silence, move through our trauma, and heal the pain. And it basically, I share my healing pilgrimage of the attributes I adapted into my life that can help every single one of us grow. And I also share ways that we all can defeat the child sexual abuse statistics.
that's amazing. So how can my audience connect with you? How can people connect with you?
Well, they can reach me on Facebook at Cathy Studer. I also have a Facebook group page called Becoming Kintsugi, and they can reach me on Instagram at Cathy Studer 4, or they can reach out to me on my website at Cathy, CATHYSTUDER, CathyStuder.com.
Awesome. Yeah. Website is good because you own that and it doesn't matter. The socials go down,
Yes.
your website will be there. So it's CATHYSTUDER.com for any of you who want to reach out and connect with Cathy and grab a copy of her book. It's probably available all over the place, right?
It is. Yes. Thank you. Barnes and Noble, Amazon, absolutely. Anywhere where they sell books.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being with us here today, Cathy. I'm just so thankful for this. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. It was an honor. And I truly appreciate the space to share the story and hopefully empower others and work on, I'm on a mission as a warrior to empower our children.
Amen. I'm on a mission to heal the adults that have been through stuff like that.
Yes. And hey, that's why we're here. That's why we were brought together.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much, Danielle.
Well, that was so enlightening, wasn't it? Have you ever heard any of those ways of how we can help children who might be experiencing sexual abuse? And we can listen when they play. We can ask them, oh, how did your toy get hurt or whatever, and create a safe space for them. These are things we can do without throwing money at something we can do that is just safe and easy without being invasive. And so I want to thank you for being with us today. And I'm Danielle Bernack from DanielleBernack.com. Love yourself from Survive to Thrive, that lady on the internet. Until next time, I love you.